April is Autism Acceptance Month, and this encore episode of the Special Chronicles Podcast honors the voices, stories, and lived experiences that continue to deepen our understanding of autism. I'm your host, Daniel Smrokowski, and today we're revisiting a lively, thoughtful, and wonderfully human conversation that still resonates years later. In this encore episode, I sit down with Dr. Kerry Magro, a national speaker, best-selling author, consultant, and one of the most recognized autism advocates in the country. Kerry shares his remarkable journey from being nonverbal as a young child to becoming a powerful voice for the autism community. His message is one of strength and self-definition, captured beautifully in his belief, autism can't define me, I define autism. This conversation that you're about to hear explores Kerry's early years, diagnosis, and the obstacles he worked to overcome, his nonprofit work through KFM Making a Difference, how he built a career as a sought-after public speaker, the books he's written and the stories behind them, his consultant work on major film and TV projects, ways to connect with him and follow his advocacy, and the heart behind everything he does to support autistic individuals and their families. Alongside our interview, I share several news stories from the disability community, including Down syndrome and adoption, special needs and the myth around lack of eye contact, my first original video on the mighty, Spider-Man and autism, this week's, or rather a couple months ago, Spread the Word Day, and a new Special Voices column that I wrote. There was a lot packed into this episode: inspiration, advocacy, storytelling, and a reminder of how powerful our voices can be used when we use them for good. Listeners, you can find full show notes, follow Special Chronicles on social media, subscribe to the podcast, and listen to more episodes on demand at specialchronicles.com/pod. That's specialchronicles.com/pod. And you are also encouraged to sign up for our newsletter to stay updated on new episodes. And if you enjoyed this episode,
Special
our full autism collection,
giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
This is Brianna Alyssa, and you're listening to Special Chronicles. Every free chance I have, I tune into Special Chronicles Podcasts at specialchronicles.com.
You're listening to the Special Chronicles Podcast, episode 133. This episode is brought to you by Pace Suburban Bus. Everyday Pace helps more people with disabilities to take control of their day with a fixed route system that has over 200 routes that are entirely accessible to people with disabilities. You can learn more at pacebus.com. That's pacebus.com.
Every American, every citizen of the world should just be aware of learning disabilities.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
You're listening to the Special Chronicles Podcast. This is the show where we're podcasting disability stories from an insider's perspective, and we are giving a voice to people with special needs. Coming up on this week's show, which joined by Kerry Magro, a national speaker and autism advocate. We'll also be talking about Down syndrome and adoption, special needs, and lack of eye contact. First original video on the mighty and Spider-Man and autism, and much more on this week's episode 133. Well, everybody, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome back. My name is Daniel. So good to be back recording behind the mic. And if you want to share in your feedback, you can tweet us at Special C Podcast, or on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Special Chronicles Podcast, or with the hashtag SCPChat. Well, everybody, welcome, and Kerry, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, why don't we go ahead and kick the show off and learn a little bit more about your backstory. Play this and then this bumper, and then we'll get started.
My advice would be to just try your hardest.
It takes a lot of training to start the World Games.
Like, I have a learning disability. It's education across the board for everyone. Every American, every citizen of the world should just be aware of learning disabilities.
So today, as I said at the top of the show, we're joined by Kerry Magro. So, Kerry, let's have you first begin by introducing yourself to our listeners. I first heard about you by reading some of your blog posts on the mighty.com, and Mike, who our listeners know, was a guest on a previous episode. But let's have you introduce yourself to our listeners.
Yeah, definitely. My name is Kerry Magro, and I am a national speaker. And I actually took this road because when I was 4 years old, I was diagnosed with autism. And growing up, I dealt with a lot of challenges, especially in regards to social and communication delays. But after a lot of therapy and a lot of hard work and dedication to my supports and services, I was able to go after my dreams. And today, I work with Autism Speaks as their social media coordinator, and I'm also a national speaker for the National Speakers Association. So I'm just really glad to be given the opportunities I've been given, and we'll just see what the future has in store.
Awesome. So can you share a little bit about your backstory of growing up with your early years of being nonverbal at the age of 2.5 and diagnosed with autism at 4? One of my friends who also was she's been a guest on a previous show and she's co-hosted a few times. She also was diagnosed with autism, PDD-NOS. Her name's Brianna, who you heard that little intro at the top of the show, and she has a song called "I Was Born Yesterday." So it seems like her story might be a little bit similar. I believe she's a junior in high school right now. But share with us on specialchronicles.com/autism. I believe we have links to some of the episodes that she was on. But share with us a little bit about your backstory and your early years.
Sure. So when I was 2.5, so growing up, my parents knew that there was something just not quite right. And that was actually because until I was 2.5, I was still nonverbal. And even though I gained speech shortly after 2.5, my parents wanted to know why there was such a delay. So we went to some of the best doctors, best therapists, because I'm from New Jersey, so we went to the best professionals in our tri-state area. And after 1.5 years of just searching and trying to find someone to give me a diagnosis, I was diagnosed with pervasive developmental disorder, and otherwise specified a form of autism. And that's basically my story. I mean, growing up was definitely challenging because of my limited ability of speech. Even though I was able to start talking shortly thereafter, it was still a very tough road, especially compared to my peers. In terms of speaking, it really was a long road, but thankfully, because of my therapies and really getting involved with a lot of different extracurricular activities like drama and theater groups, it really helped open my communication to really have the ability to speak more and be able to communicate effectively.
Yeah. So did you say that you have a degree in communications? Or?
Yes, I have a master's degree from Seton Hall University in strategic communications and leadership. And I got that master's because I actually received a scholarship from the National Speakers Association to become a national speaker. So they gave me the scholarship so I could pursue a degree in toning, basically, my effective presentation skills.
Neat. I do a lot of speaking with Special Olympics as a global messenger, but then also now at Special Chronicles have my own speaking as well. Let's move on, and wonder if you could share some of your thoughts about the tone diff ability instead of the tone disability, meaning DIF ability, so different ability. One of my friends who you may know, Tim Shriver, who's the chairman of Special Olympics, a few months ago he released a new book called "I'm Fully Alive: Discovering What Matters Most," and he wrote a little bit about that tome. And I've written some blog posts and have done some podcasts about this tome as well. Tim writes in an endnote on page 180 of his book. He talks about the tome diffability, and he says it's not a typo, but it's not a generally accepted tone either. He uses it to jog his unconsciousness of the mindset of having a lack of ability or a negativity, and recognizing how we have a million abilities, that each of us has many different ones. Can you share some of your thoughts about that, Tom?
Yeah, sure. I've always considered people with disabilities as some of the most brilliant minds that we have out there today. And that goes to show in many aspects that even though you may have a disability, you also have a lot of abilities.
Yes.
You have your own specific strengths that you could work up to, and having a disability doesn't make you any less of a person. That's what I constantly am preaching in my presentations, that regardless of whatever you have going on in your life, it's really more of a difference than anything, and it makes you who you are, it makes you unique, and it makes you completely different than the next person you're going to meet. So that uniqueness is kind of what I see most in our disability community, and not only with disabilities, but autism.
Absolutely.
The saying in the autism community is if you've met one person with autism, you've met just that one person with autism.
Yeah.
Because everyone has their own unique and varied story compared to the next individual you'll meet.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard that too. Now in preparing for the show today, I saw on your website that you have a quote on there that says, "Autism can't define me, I define autism." Can you share with us how you came up with that quote and some of your thoughts for having that quote on your website?
Yeah, sure. So that phrase became something that became very important to me when I was in college. Because when I went to college for the first time, no one really knew I had autism. Everyone kind of just saw me and were like, "Oh, you couldn't have autism." But during one of my first presentations in college, I told my peers for the first time, I was giving the autism awareness presentation, and I told them that autism can't define me. I define autism in everything I do in my life. And that was really trying to teach people that even though I was nonverbal at 2.5, even though I dealt with constant challenges growing up, I still was able to overcome a lot of my obstacles. And that's what I've been seeing a lot in our community. There's so many individuals who are doing therapy. There's so many individuals who do have supports and services who are achieving great things every single day. Mm-hmm. So my main thought with that phrase is that, don't be defined by your label. Define yourself and define the person you want to be in your life, and don't let anything stand in your way.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things, I was diagnosed with learning disabilities and a severe language disorder, and one of the things that I learned in college, and when I wrote some articles in the paper about different disability issues, some people have even said that they didn't see how I had a disability, and one of the things I learned was the difference between invisible versus visible disabilities. So invisible might be autism or LD, and then visible might be Down syndrome or CP. We have about less than a minute before we have to take a first break, but share briefly about some of the obstacles and challenges that you said that you have to deal with in the past, and that you may still deal with on a daily basis.
Sure. So just real quick, I deal with today. When I was growing up, I dealt with not only social and communication delays. I had a stutter. I had sensory integration issues, which is basically you feel a sense of overload for your senses. And today, I've been able to grow out of a lot of the sensory integration stuff, and now it's more focused on just having a few difficulties interacting with my peers and individuals my own age. But again, it's far less than what I had to deal with growing up.
Okay, awesome. And one of the things that we try to do at Special Chronicles is focus on our abilities. We have to take a short break just to mention our sponsors, but coming up, we'll hear more from you, Kerry, about your nonprofit in making a difference, and about your speaking career and some of the books you've written and film projects that you have worked on. Plus, we'll talk about some more news stories and the Support the World in the World campaign. Is all coming up after the break right here on SpecialChronicles.com. We'll be right back.
This episode brought to you by Pace Suburban Bus. Pace helps get you where you need to go. Every day, Pace helps more and more people with disabilities take control of their day. On Pace's fixed routes, you won't have to book your rides a day in advance. And with a fixed route system that has over 200 routes that are entirely accessible to people with disabilities, you'll be able to go where you want, when you want. And best of all, many people with disabilities ride Pace for free or for half price. When you're ready to take control of your day and learn more, visit pacebus.com. That's pacebus.com, or call 847-364-PACE. That's 847-364-PACE. Pace, connecting communities. This episode is also sponsored by Chicago Army Navy Surplus Store in Downers Grove, Illinois. When was the last time you were in an Army surplus store looking for a cool backpack or shoulder bag, camouflage pants or jackets? Do you like collecting or just looking at military stuff from around the world? If so, then go to Facebook and visit Chicago Army Navy Surplus, located in Downers Grove, Illinois. Or go to their website, chiarmy.com. That's chiarmy.com. A cool store, great stuff, and friendly people. This episode is also sponsored by Flocknote. Does your parish ministry or organization struggle to keep everyone in the loop? Do you want a simple solution, something that just works? Well, Flocknote
Quizmedia.com was made for you. Quizmedia lists as you like, then input the contacts that you already have, or simply let your members subscribe to your activities themselves via the web, or by letting them send a text message right from their phone. It's never been easier to click up-to-date contact info and then to send your groups an email or text message at the click of a button. Try a free trial today at blocknote.com.
And this episode also sponsored by Bluehost. Want to start your own blog or professional website? Then consider using Bluehost. For only $6.95 per month or less, you can have your own professional website or blog. Click on specialchronicles.com/sponsors and click on the Bluehost banner for more information.
Tim Shriver Jr., and I'm the co-founder of Spread the Word to End the Word. I'm just excited to be on this pioneering show, this pioneering project, Special Chronicles. Absolutely. Chicago is once again becoming the location of a new revolution in voice and in representation, and it's been a special place for a long time. I mean, it's been 40 some years since Special Olympics launched there in Chicago at Soldier Field, and almost 50 years later, another huge project, Special Chronicles, launching in that same town. It holds a lot of special power there in Chicago. I also just want to thank you, Dan, for inviting me on and for creating Special Chronicles. It's such an incredible innovation, and it's an incredible project you've taken on that you have worked so hard on for 5 years, taken from a small podcast to a new media company and a nonprofit. The work you put in shows so strongly, and the fact that you create this show not just to give voice for yourself, but to give voice to so many Special Olympics athletes and so many people across our community. Such a powerful idea, such a powerful action, such a powerful creation. So thank you for all the work you do. And I just can't wait to see the next episode and see what comes next. Thank you, and I hope you guys all have a great day.
Hi, this is Mike Porath, founder of themighty.com. I'm here in Los Angeles, and you're listening to Special Chronicles.
You're listening to the Special Chronicles Podcast, and here's your host.
This is the Special Chronicles Podcast. My name is Daniel, your host, and you can follow me on the Twitter or the Facebook, Podman Dan. And we'll still joined here by Kerry Magro, a national speaker and autism advocate. Welcome back to the show, Kerry.
Glad to be back on.
So let's continue learning a little bit more about your story and getting into some of the advocacy work that you're doing in the disability and autism community. Can you share a little bit about your nonprofit KFM Making a Difference and how you got started with this?
Sure. I started KFM Making a Difference actually while I was in college. Mm-hmm. And the idea came to me because when I was in school, there was no organizations on campus for those with disabilities. So I took it upon myself to talk to our student government. And after a few months of paperwork, I finally got to start an organization called Student Disability Awareness. And being able to start a disability awareness organization on my college campus gave me the idea to start a nonprofit organization for those with autism outside of my college campus.
Yeah.
It was something I wanted to do to really just get the word out about adults with autism, but also give them the possibilities to go to college. So in 2009, KFM Making a Difference started. In 2011, we were able to get our 501c3 nonprofit status. And ever since then, we have been giving out scholarships for individuals with autism to go to college. And currently, we have given out 13 scholarships. And we give one scholarship out in the fall and another scholarship out in the spring. Yeah. And you can learn all about this scholarship program on my personal website at kerrymagro.com.
Okay, neat. And I'll make sure to put a link to your website in our show notes for episode 133 on specialchronicles.com for all listeners. What does KFM, does it stand for something, or how did you come up with the name?
Right. So in college, more than anything, what I wanted to do was make a difference in the lives of those with disabilities. And that was actually the reason for the name of my organization. KFM is just my initials, okay. Kerry Francis, which is my middle name, and then Magro. So I just made it my initials and called it KFM Making a Difference, because I hope through what I'm doing, people can take notice and just see that I'm trying to make a difference for those with disabilities.
Neat. Well, I'll share the information about your nonprofit and the show with my friend Bree, who I believe is going to be a senior next year. I don't know if she has plans to go to college, but I'll definitely share and tell her about your scholarship program. So let's move on and talk a little bit about your speaking. You said in our first segment that you're part of the National Speakers Association. Can you share with us how you got started speaking and some of the topics and where you have spoken?
Yeah, so again, I mean, the past 4 years of being a motivational speaker have been phenomenal. And over that time, I've spoken at over 400 events in the United States and also Canada. And so, some of the biggest ones that I've had the opportunity to speak at, I got to speak at the Intrepid for National Disability Awareness Month, or Employment Month, in October of, I believe it was 2012. And then at the end of last year, I got to speak at JP Morgan Chase, again for autism awareness. And those two are probably the biggest ones I've done so far. And the great thing about just being a speaker and getting to share my life story is that I've been able to really speak at a lot of different types of events also. Spoken at businesses, I've spoken at schools, paraprofessional meetings, school assemblies, parent groups, just a wider range of events. And each one I hold applicable to just what they need. And more than anything, that I see myself as a speaker, but also as an outlet for these individuals to really gauge where we're going in our disability community going forward, and just trying to help out with the cause.
Neat. Awesome. I saw that you've written a couple books, one called Defining Autism from the Heart and another called Autism and Falling in Love. Can you share with us about why you have written these books and some of your thoughts about kind of giving our listeners a preview to hopefully check out your own books?
Sure. So I started defining autism from the heart when I first told my peers in college that I was on the autism spectrum. It was during a time where I really didn't know how any of them were going to react. I didn't know if they were going to react with fear. I didn't know if they were going to react and bully me because of my autism, but all of them were very, very accepting. But also during that time, I really was just trying to figure out who I was as an individual with autism. So I wrote a book, and it is compiled of essays and poems that I wrote when I was trying to figure out who I was as an adult with autism. And after a while, I decided to put those poems and essays together and form my first book, called Defining Autism from the Heart, kind of going off the same line as my quote, autism can't define me, I define autism. So that was my first book. And my second book, Autism and Falling in Love, was, again, another book I started writing when I was in college. And I wrote this book because when I was in college, I was really getting into my first relationship. And I really didn't have any idea what I was doing. And it was during that time I kind of just took it upon myself to really just try to research. And when I researched, I really couldn't find that many books about autism and relationships. So when I had my first relationship, that's when I started writing the journal about my experiences with relationships. And 7 years later, now, as a 26-year-old adult, I decided to come out with my second book based on a recent breakup that I had, and just wanting to be there for other individuals with autism who might be going through similar things. So both those books came out, and they are currently available on Amazon, and I hope you guys check them out.
Awesome. So I saw that you also involved as a consultant on some films. Can you share with us about some of the films that you have consulted and what you have done through this process of consulting on different film projects?
Sure. My first movie that I consulted for was in 2010, and it was a movie called Joyful Noise, which starred Queen Latifah and Dolly Parton. And the reason I actually got the opportunity to consult for that movie was because one of the characters in the film had Asperger's syndrome. It was a 14-year-old character, and I was currently working with Autism Speaks at the time as an intern. And my organization suggested that the director of the movie, Todd Graff, reach out to me because they knew I had a background in film and theater, and they wanted to get as realistic portrayal of autism as humanly possible through the film.
Yeah.
So I started talking to the director. The director sent me his screenplay. He asked me if I could edit it, and especially the part about the individual with autism. And 3 days later, I had the edit done, and I was ready to send it back to him. And then a week later, we were having lunch in New York. It was kind of surreal with a famous movie director having lunch in New York and talking about the film. And that's when he told me that he wanted me to start working on the film as a consultant, and really just trying to make people through the film understand more about autism. So the movie was produced for a year and a half, and it finally came out in January of 2012. And after that, it just opens a wide range of opportunities for me to start consulting for more films featuring individuals with autism. So currently today, I'm working on four more autism films. One of them is my own documentary, which I'm starting based on my life on the spectrum, which I hope to have out sometime next year. And then 3 other films: Jane Wants a Boyfriend, which focuses on a girl with Asperger's syndrome trying to find love for the first time in New York City. Another one called Big Daddy Autism, which is a documentary which looks at a relationship of a single father with a young child who is nonverbal on the spectrum. And then finally, the last movie, Don't Boil My Plans, is another documentary which looks at a 25-year-old cartoonist also on the autism spectrum who is looking for employment for the first time, and just kind of some of the obstacles and successes he's gone along the way to doing that. So again, I'm blessed with the opportunity to get to consult for all these films, and you can find all these films on my website at kerrymagro.com if you want to learn more.
All right. Do you recommend these films for our listeners to get an insider's perspective on what it's like to have autism?
Absolutely. It's something in our society now, with the numbers of autism being 1 in 68 individuals are currently diagnosed with autism. Autism is everywhere in our society. And in our media, it couldn't be farther, it couldn't be more realistic. I mean, there's just so many films about autism coming out today, and what I hope from these films is that people really just are able to educate themselves more about autism and accepting people with autism, because, again, some of these films are documentaries which really focus on real people who are on the spectrum, who are just trying to do great things. So if you want to learn more about autism and just what is going on in our community today, I would highly recommend these films.
Awesome. Well, there was a show that I wrote a review for it on specialchronicles.com a few years ago, and I also wrote a review that you wrote on the mighty.com, and the show that just ended called Parenthood, that aired on NBC. Have you seen this show, and what are some of your thoughts on Max's portrayal of Asperger's?
Parenthood was something I actually didn't know was a show for a while. Someone had recommended it to me from Autism Speaks, and I have Netflix, and I just started watching a few episodes because Parenthood is on Netflix currently. Yeah. And I learned more about Max and his diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome. And after a while, I was just kind of just hooked to the show in general. I mean, it talks about so many different things, especially when it comes to just families uniting and family issues. That it just seemed like such a real show. And what I could say about Max's character is that he really portrayed a realistic portrayal of someone with autism. It wasn't a cookie cutter look at autism. It was very in depth. It was very real. Things in the show that Max had to deal with, such as things like bullying and trying to be comfortable in your own skin. I mean, these are things that so many individuals, not only with autism, have to deal with every single day. So, Parenthood is again, I wrote a review about Parenthood, which is currently on the mighty.com, and it's a show I highly recommend, because for a while we didn't have any shows about autism on television. And this one right here gave us the opportunity to look at autism on a national level on NBC. So hopefully there will be more TV shows that feature individuals with autism.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I read an article on Disability Scoop about Max's character, and that's how I heard about the show. There's another movie that I had a radio host named Brant Hansen who was diagnosed with Asperger's later in life, and he recommended a movie with a character with autism that I'm just blinking on it, but it's called it's called Adam, which is the same name as my middle name. But have you seen this movie called Adam?
Yes, I actually wrote a blog for the DJ Fiddle Foundation, which actually goes a little bit into my understanding of Adam. When I was writing my second book, Autism and Falling in Love, I talked a little bit in my book about just the portrayal of Adam, and which is played by Hugh Dancy, who's a famous actor in our community today. it was really well done. Again, it's one of those films that focuses on relationships and how relationships can be hard, especially if you have something like Asperger's syndrome. And I really just loved it. It's currently one of my favorite films out there today, because at the time I started watching it, it was when I was really getting into one of my better relationships that I've ever had, and it was just so relatable to a lot of my own personal story. So it's another film really recommend people who want to learn more about autism see.
Neat. How can our listeners connect with you online? Website, blog, social media, and articles on the Mighty. You mentioned a few times your website, but what are all the ways that our listeners can get in touch with you? And as you know, as I know, in a month is Autism Awareness Month in April. So I'm sure if our listeners are looking for a great speaker, I'm sure that they can get in touch with you. But what are the ways that our listeners can get in touch?
The best ways you can get in touch start with my personal website called kerrymagro.com. On there, you can fill out a contact inquiry, which will ideally get you in contact with me through my PR team. And then I'm currently a blog contributor, like you mentioned, for themighty.com. So if you go to themighty.com and go to the search field and type in my name, Kerry Magro, you can read all of my new and old blogs I've written on the Mighty. And I'm also on social media. You can follow me on Facebook by just searching my name, Kerry Magro. You can also find me on Twitter at Kerry Magro, and then Instagram also at Kerry Magro. So these are some of the best ways that you can get in touch with me. And if you have any questions about Autism Awareness Month or just autism and disabilities in general, please feel free to reach out anytime.
Awesome. And I'll make sure to include all those links on specialchronicles.com for episode 133. Do you have any, before we move on to our final segment about a few news stories, do you have any final thoughts about our overall time together today?
Just for those listening, what I can honestly say is I didn't know what my road was going to be like growing up. I was very down on myself for so long just because I didn't think that great things were possible in this world. And as cheesy and as cliche as it may sound, it's really the truth that I've been able to really just see a lot of the things that I've wanted to do for so long getting accomplished today. And I do think there's so much hope out there for so many individuals. And we're learning so much not only about autism, but disabilities each and every day. Currently in the U.S., there are 68 million individuals who have a disability. So it just goes to show that there are so many of us out there, and we really need to be there for one another, and always just encouraging each other to reach for the stars and go after our dreams every single day. And if you ever feel like you're in the dark and you don't think this is possible, feel free to reach out, and hopefully I can be able to help you guys out.
Absolutely. It's great how we have different organizations to help each other out and to connect and share about what we're able to accomplish. And let's talk about some brief news stories. We have about 15 more minutes left in today's show. Do you have to get going, Kerry, or do you want to stay for the last part of the show?
You know what? I actually have to run.
Okay.
But it was great getting to talk to you. I really believe that your program is phenomenal. I got a chance to check out Special Chronicles, and there's just a lot of great interviews with a wider range of speakers who all have different qualifications, and it's really cool to see. I really have a lot of high hopes for this show, and would love to come back on as a guest in the future. So please keep me posted on ways that I can get involved.
Absolutely, thank you, and it's been great hearing from you, and I look forward to having you on the show again, and I'm staying in touch.
Definitely.
Thanks. So take care, and we'll talk to you again.
Great, sounds great. Thank you again.
Take care. So I'd like to thank Kerry for once again taking the time to come on the show. And as I said, we have about 15 more minutes left in the show, and we already mentioned our sponsors half hour ago. So let's just move on with the news.
Welcome to the Pie News on channel 3.14.
Good afternoon, I'm Rob Johnson.
And I'm Kate Sullivan. We begin with breaking news.
And a full meeting with Mike from the Mighty, and much more news right now. So first, just yesterday, the day I'm recording this on the last day of February, Saturday, February 28th, 2015. Just yesterday, which was February 27th, the Special Chronicles team, Adam, my dad, who's a business manager and board of directors for Special Chronicles, we had a awesome phone meeting with Mike Poeth, who's the founder of the Mighty. And if you want to hear his backstory and learn a little bit more about what they're doing over there, you can go back, I believe it was episode 131, or if you go to our SoundCloud page, or it's actually my SoundCloud page, but you can find links to that on specialchronicles.com, where we have all of our social media links there. But there's a little edited 9-minute clip of our interview of our talk with Mike. But it was great to get connected with them and their editor Megan over there. And who knows? I can't speak about some of the stuff that we talked about, but I can just say stay tuned, because there may be some interesting ways of how we can partner. And going on for our first 2 segments of the show there with having Kerry on the show, I read some articles on the Mighty, and that's how I was able to hear about what Kerry's doing, and I'm looking forward to staying in touch with him, and as well as the team over at the Mighty. But here's an article that I read. Speaking of that I read on the Mighty, is by Kerry Magro Peck, who, as I think last year, we were supposed to try to get her on the show for another blog post that she wrote on the Huffington Post, but just some other things in life just kind of got in the way, so we won't go there. But there's a blog post that Kerry wrote called "Why We Adopted a Child with Down Syndrome," and if you want to get kind of an insider perspective on what it's like to adopt a child who was diagnosed with Down syndrome, we did this article by Kerry. And this other article comes from Lisa, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but Reyes, Lisa Ways. And she wrote a blog post on the Mighty called "Someone Asked My Son with Autism Why Eye Contact Was So How This Was His Answer." If you want to read that, I'll put a link in our show notes for episode 133 on specialchronicles.com. But this particular blog post that Lisa wrote can relate to a little instance. Now, I myself don't have autism, but I as someone else who has diagnosed with disabilities, I can relate to this particular blog post in a recent journal blog article that I wrote on specialchronicles.com about having a lack of eye contact in a recent job interview at a local video store that will be nameless. But this I ended up not getting the job, but this sparked a conversation about this issue of being diagnosed with special needs and having lack of eye contact. But this blog post that I wrote on specialchronicles.com, Pom and Dan's Journal, you can find under news on specialchronicles.com, and a conversation about with one of our listeners about this issue about having a lack of eye contact. And so if you want to, I'll try to put a link to that post that's on our Facebook page for Special Chronicles if you guys are curious and want to learn a little bit more about that. Now, this next story, as you may have heard on a couple episodes ago when we had the mighty founder, Mike Poeth, was on the show, he told us how they wanted to start to create original video. Well, this past week, they launched their first original video. And you can read the backstory and watch the 3-minute original video. And it's titled, this person, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but this person says, I have OCD. This is what it's like to be in my mind for 3 minutes. And I'm going to play you just a clip, just a clip of this video, just to kind of give you a little tease. And I'll put a link if you guys want to watch the full video here. That you can just watch.
3, 4, 5, 6. How long did I sleep for? I got to bed at 3. Let's see, 3 o'clock. 3 a.m. I didn't do anything stupid yesterday. 4, 5, 6, 7. How many hours did I sleep? How many hours did I sleep? How long did I sleep for? 3 a.m. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm feeling lightheaded. My heart's feeling a little lightheaded. I don't feel good. My heart's beating. I don't know if I feel alright.
Okay, so if you want to watch this whole video, I'll put a link to it in our show notes for episode 133 that you can find on specialchronicles.com. Just look under podcasts. And so this story, it's kind of from his perspective, and this video gave me a great idea for one of our listeners, Mary Ellen, who is Bree's mom. And she had an idea last year. I don't know if I can talk about it on air, but she had an idea. I actually wrote a little article about it on specialchronicles.com. But she had an idea of producing a documentary about seeing the world through our eyes, meaning seeing the world through the eyes of those of us with special needs, like Cordaro, like myself, like Kerry, and so this particular video kind of gave me an idea for this that we could produce, or that Special Chronicles could potentially produce. And so, Mariana, if you listen and check out this video, if I haven't sent it to you already, but it kind of, and this also kind of goes along with, if we got this Google Glass grant that one of our former board directors, Tyra, who is still a great friend of this network, a great friend of this show, that she helped us in applying to Google for this Google Glass grant. I don't know if you guys are, if there's any geeks out there in our audience, but I don't know if you've maybe seen this, but it's these glasses, and there's a little camera on, like that's on the side bar. I mean, that's not the top little thing, and so this would be, I mean, it just it would be just so awesome for this type of video thing, and I mean, just for the special needs, for the special needs community overall, to be able to use Google Glasses. Just how awesome would that be? Okay, so this next story I saw on Twitter by looking under the hashtag autism, and it's from CNN, and it's titled "Stan Lee draws Spider-Man for a child with autism." And I'll put a link if you guys want to see some of these pictures or see this article. But apparently, one of the, I think he's the correct me if any geeks out there, any other geeks or comic book fans, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe is Stan Lee the co-founder of Spider-Man. But anyway, so it's awesome to see how he's able to help somebody with autism and somebody with special needs. So awesome. So go check that out. Spread the word to end the world. As you guys know, this week, March 4th, 2015, is the annual the annual awareness day to spread the word to end the world. And spread the word to end the world happens all year round because, we have to keep reminding people that the R word, the word retarded, really hurts all of us, people with disabilities.
And when you use the R word,
it not only hurts those living with the intellectual disability,
it hurts all of us who love them.
And that's not okay.
Help me end the word.
It's time we try.
It's time we care.
It's time we stand.
Let my voice,
my voice,
my voice,
my voice, inspire a change.
So spread the word to end the world. Well, get this thing back there. Slow it down a little bit. Spread the word to end the world is a campaign to end the world retarded. And it's how demeaning and hurtful it is for all of us people with disabilities, all of us people, and it also hurts and is offensive for our friends and our families. And you can find more information as well as to take the pledge at all-word.org, all-word. That's WORD.org. You can find links on our resources page or in the show notes for episode 133 on specialchronicles.com. And I once again coming back with writing some all new original Special Voices columns in the Bugle newspapers. And I spoke on last week's show, kind of giving you a little preview of what's coming up. So go back to last week's show if you guys want to hear more about that. But this week, coming up, actually published on Wednesday, March 4th, is and I'll tweet out a link if you follow me on Podman Dan, or if you follow at Special C Podcast, I'll probably retweet it as well. So either place you can find it. But I'll put a link to where it's on BugleNewspapers.com. It's the online edition. They also have an e-edition on for the Bugle. But if you're anywhere in the Westmont, Illinois, Downers Grove, Illinois, Lisle or Woodridge, Illinois, or I believe anywhere in Will, Cook, or DuPage counties, you can actually pick it up in your local newsstand as well. But for anyone else, you can we'll put a link so you can read it. But my editor really liked it. My editor, Jonathan Samples, if you're listening. But anyways, they really liked it, and they're going to be actually putting this column on the cover, on the front page of the paper. So that's awesome. So, and I'll give you a little tease, a little sneak peek to the column. Well, I wrote about in the lead is a little story about how the R word was affected by me in 6th grade, and then connected to that is a little paragraph, a little quote from my friend Hunter Georgia, who's been a guest on the show in the past, and then some quotes from my sister, and we concluded, and you can stay tuned to as you read it. So that's all the little teeth I'm giving you guys. But here's a little PSA, a little short PSA from our friends of the White family: Ben, Amy, Louie, Emma Grace, Louie, Bull, and Biddy. So you guys will listen in. A little shout out to you guys, a little PSA. Make sure you guys check out their music video called "It Starts with a Voice." You can find it at itstartswithavoice.com.
It's not okay.
It's not okay to discriminate.
It's not okay to marginalize.
It's not okay to call my brother,
my daughter,
my son,
retarded. If you knew my brother,
my daughter,
you'd see
he's funny.
She's loving.
He's smart.
She's beautiful.
He's my buddy.
And when you use the R word,
it not only hurts those living with the intellectual disability,
it hurts all of us who love them.
And that's not okay.
Help me end the word.
It's time we try.
It's time we care.
It's time we stand.
Let my voice,
my voice,
my voice,
my voice
inspire a change.
And inspire a change indeed. So yeah, I'm trying to edit something in the show notes. But yeah. Definitely recommend that you go check out their music video and song. It starts with a voice, which is a theme song, and kind of goes along with the Spread the Word to End the World campaign. Let's see. Oh, and I forgot to ask Kerry about his thoughts about the R word. Well, Kerry, if you're listening, call in, or we'll have to have you on the show again. So, absolutely. Let's see. This week's column, I'll link it on the Special Voices tab that you can find on specialchronicles.com. And if you want to share your feedback, you can go on to specialchronicles.com/voicemail, or just specialchronicles.com, and on the right-hand side, you'll see a little button that you can click to start recording and just record your voicemail right from your computer, or from your smartphone or from your tablet, however you want to call it. That's the easiest way. And I hope from the listener that's way easy to use that button and just call your voicemail feedback. It sends me an email with the audio file, and then we play it on the show. You can also email an audio file to feedback@specialchronicles.com. That's feedback@specialchronicles.com. You can also, as I said at the top of the story, you can also leave your feedback on our Facebook page. This is facebook.com/Special Chronicles Podcast. Facebook.com/Special Chronicles Podcast. You can also tweet us on Twitter @Special C Podcast, @Special C Podcast on the Twitters. You can also leave us. It would help us to get the word out. We haven't had any reviews lately, but in iTunes or on Stitcher Radio. But we'd love to have you just go to iTunes, do a search for Special Chronicles, and leave us a positive review and rating. It really helps. A lot more people out there know about our pioneering show, Special Chronicles, and that's just not me saying pioneering. Our friend Tim Shiver had called this show pioneering as well. Let's see. Coming up next week, I have a little schedule here. We're finally kind of getting back into getting an editorial calendar of what's coming up. But coming up next week, we'll be speaking with actually a new listener. His name is Ryan James. Ryan is a grad student at the University of Hawaii, and he has physical disabilities. So he's enjoyed the show, especially he enjoyed our Next Level series. You can find that Next Level series on specialchronicles.com. Just look under series and look for Next Level. Also coming up after that is on the 21st is World Down Syndrome Day. We'll be having our friend Mallory Taylor on the show. I met Mallory last year when she got trained as a new global messenger speaker for Special Olympics Illinois, and we'll be having Mallory on the show. She's looking forward to coming on the show. And I think somewhere in our Special Talks feed, we have a speech that she gave. I believe I have to find that somewhere in our archives. And then stay tuned for much more content. We'll hopefully be having some more live on location broadcasts coming up as well. And as always, if you have an inspiring story to share, or do you know someone with special needs, you can get in touch. Just send us an email to editor@specialchronicles.com. That's editor@specialchronicles.com. And we would love to get in touch with you. I don't know what's going to play a final song at the end, but we are at about 2 minutes over the hour mark, and I want to try to keep these shows relatively to an hour for you guys. And I look forward to bringing out another exciting show next week. And remember to share the shows with your friends and your family, and we will talk to you next week right here on the Special Chronicles podcast at specialchronicles.com. So until next week, everyone, take care, and God bless. We'll see you online. Bye.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.